Hello, everybody. It's been great to see you. Today we have a theme that is going to be of interest to many of you, or if not all of you. Of course, we're talking about critical issues now. I told you last time that we were going to work with critical issues in our health, our critical health issues that can be solved or have solutions out there that are emerging. And this is exciting, actually, news that science is coming up with these solutions. Of course, there are millions of hours of studies and of scientific research being established or being done every single month, millions of, in that grand expanse of knowledge. We can find solutions to some of our most critical health problems, and that's what we're looking at during these Science Friday discussions. Last time we talked about nanotechnology. I hope that you really enjoyed that. And nanotechnology, of course, deals with very small structures, groups of atoms and molecules that are very small, usually less than about 200 or 300 atoms big. Often it can go up to as many as 1,000 atoms big, but they're on the atomic level, fairly small structures. In fact, you can't even see them with your eye. You need an electron microscope in order to be able to see them, and you need very advanced quantum mechanics in order to be able to understand how they interact and how they work. But we saw some very interesting things as we were looking at that last time. We saw that there is oxidation and reduction. What does that mean? We actually usually call it reduction and oxidation, or redox for short. And reduction and oxidation is a very interesting phenomenon that happens between atoms. As we know, an atom has its nucleus, and around the outside of the nucleus, there's a cloud of electrons. And these cloud of electrons, they're spinning around the nucleus at blinding speeds. In fact, you can't even see them, literally, because they're spinning so fast, or they have a momentum that is so fast that they're actually spread out along all of the atomic structure. And these little electrons then are in shells or orbitals, and they look like little fuzzy balls. We'll be looking a little bit at that today. Why is this important? Okay, because these little atoms, they exchange electrons. And when they grab an electron, they oxidize something. They grab it away, they steal it. That's called oxidation. And if they give away an electron, then they are being reduced, or they're reducing something. Well, the more electrons that an atom has, the tighter bond it forms between its neighboring atoms. So if you're forming a bond, you have electrons in the middle that are pulling it together and forming that bond. And then if they're exchanging these electrons that are holding them together, if you reduce them, you make them a tighter bond, and they stick together harder. So all of these little micro machines inside of our body, they move. The machines have to move. They move around, they change shape, and they move. Well, the way that they move is that they release a bond, which allows them to undo, and then they form a bond which allows them to go back. That's a reduction and oxidation. That's redox operation. And you need things that carry that redox message around inside these molecular actors and machines that are inside your cells. This is how it happens on the atomic level. And since I'm an atomic physicist, you're going to hear a little bit today about some of the science behind that and why it's important to us as we're looking for solutions. So for for many years, we thought that these antioxidants were terrible. Well, oxidants, remember, they're the ones that pull off or steal electrons. So they're like robbers, it says here, which have steal energy and so they're the bad guys. The antioxidants that we find in foods are the good guys, and they eliminate the oxidants that are inside of our body. That has been the story for many years. Actually, it's not true. That story is not true. Actually, the most potent oxidants found in nature are produced inside your body as part of your metabolism. Hydrogen peroxide, superoxide, hypochlorites are oxidants produced inside your body. Then the antioxidants that get rid of these oxidants are called inside your body, endogenous, glutathione peroxidase, oxidized glutathione, superoxide dismutase catalase. Those are the things that pretty much undo these oxidants. Well, for many years, we thought these oxidants were bad guys. Actually, the oxidants and antioxidants inside a living cell work together harmoniously. And they're part of this harmonious orchestration of life where things are moving, they're oxidized, and then they're reduced. You need oxidation or oxidants in order to be able to release the bonds so that these little proteins and micro machines can work. In fact, if you didn't have them in the nucleus building your proteins and building your cells, nothing would work. So let's look at oxygen. Here's what it looks like. Remember those little fuzzy balls I was talking about? Well, these are what electrons look like outside an oxygen atom. And there's two of them that don't have a pair. These two unpaired electrons, which are spin up electrons, or they're unpaired electrons. Ones that are paired have spin up, spin down. I'm not going to explain that. But these are called free radicals. We've heard about this. So oxygen itself in the atmosphere is a free radical. Oxygen is an oxidant. Obviously, if we were to take the oxygen away from us, we wouldn't do too well. So we need these oxidative compounds. We need oxygen, and we need the free radicals. So how does the body use them then? Well, the body takes in oxygen. It goes into a little machine called the mitochondria. It burns then the sugars and the fuels and lets out the energy that the cell needs. But it also lets out a bunch of oxidants. Just like fire creates smoke, oxidation inside of our cells creates oxidants, like hydrogen peroxide and hypochlorites and superoxide. Well, no problem, because we have antioxidants in there that can eliminate them. But we have now found that there is a signaling and messaging system inside of our cell that is fundamental and requires these oxidants. It's called redox signaling. And it's a signaling process that takes place between atoms and molecules inside of living cells. We may have a little bit more to do. Well, oxygen just doesn't exist as an oxygen molecule. It also, if you add another electron to it, turns into a superoxide. An ion. If you add another one, it's peroxide ion, and then hydroxyl radicals, etc. So the more electrons that these oxygen molecules steal from other atoms, different roles that they play, or different types of moieties they are, and they completely are different and act differently. Altogether, these forms of oxygen are called reactive oxygen species. There'll be a test on this. I'm just kidding. Reactive oxygen species are inside. We usually call them ROS. And like hydrogen peroxide, they speed up and slow down metabolism. They speed up and slow down photosynthesis. They are extremely important molecules in our body. Let me kind of explain, in a plant, if sun hits the plant, it creates energy, right? It also creates all of these oxidants. These oxidants or reactive oxygen species slow down the metabolism of the plant, slow down the photosynthesis. So you can't create too much. You can't burn it out, so to speak, when you have direct sunlight. Then when they don't have direct sunlight, it starts to speed it up again so that you do that. Well, this regulatory mechanism is called homeostatic balance. It happens because these oxidants that are being produced by the mitochondria are being eliminated by the antioxidants. We already talked about that. Here's one of the most beautiful ones. It's glutathione peroxidase. And then in our cells, these mitochondria, they're about 200 in each cell. In the heart, they're about 4,000, are creating all of these oxidants, which are the red triangles, being eliminated then by the antioxidants that are around the nucleus, in this case, to protect the DNA. So it's keeping a very careful homeostatic balance of oxidation inside the cell. This is a healthy cell, and this is the way it needs to be. Damaged cells build up oxidants. When they're damaged, they can do one of two things. They either kill themselves. This is a signal to kill yourself, or repair themselves. And if they can repair themselves, then they get back to this healthy balance. That's how cells work. They get out of balance. The DNA is activated. It'll help them to bring them back into balance. If they can't get it back into balance, then they die. So ROS, or reactive oxygen species, is made just basically of salt and water. Then you put these salt and water molecules together to form different types of molecules called reactive oxygen species, and they're the ones that do the work inside of our cells. There are quite a few of them, things that are, characterizations of these things are water clusters themselves, and some of these are all part of the NOS, or the ROS species. I almost talked about nitrogen, but the ROS species. So there are many different therapies that can be done by creating oxidation in your body. You believe that? We're starting to realize that ozone can kill bacteria and microbes, but it also stimulates this redox process in your body. Photonic therapy with infrared light does it. Hydrogen peroxide does it. Pulsed electromagnetic frequencies do it. These are all new fields of medicine. So we can use lasers to help heal people. We can use ozone to help heal people. We can use pulsed frequencies with little radio antennas to help heal people. Almost sounds like science fiction, but it isn't. Chlorine dioxide also, and then redox signaling compounds that I have helped stabilize. They all are able to stimulate the redox signaling and then supplement the redox signaling action inside the cell. We found that if you create a nice stable compound, it's actually very safe. I'm not going to go through this, but it kills bacteria in under 30 seconds, and there's no effect on the healthy microbiome. No inflammatory markers. It doesn't inflame you. It increases antioxidant efficiency. Imagine putting oxidants in and then increasing the efficiency of antioxidants. without inflammation. And it accelerates the kill rate in damaged cells, only in damaged cells. And then increases sensitivity to hormones and reverses cell aging. We've actually seen under the microscope, when you put these reactive oxygen species, these redox compounds in the cell cultures, the cells will return to normal, healthy, young cells. The cells themselves will start acting like normal cells. They usually kind of get old and inactive. So NRF2 activation helps to open up the channels inside of us. You don't have to read through all of this, but it's getting a little bit scientific here. But these channels then open up the antioxidants that help us to get rid of the oxidants in our body. Remember the signaling? It helps us to balance things. So if we have more than we need, it helps us to reduce them. If we have less than we need, then it helps to increase them. In animal studies, we have seen that if oxidants are taken out of the animal, they become morbid, obese, depressed, fatigued. They die earlier, they get cancer, they get diabetes, they get sick much easier. So these oxidants then are absolutely essential, in balance, that is, for the function of animals. So what happens when we supplement redox signaling in animals? We have 20 years of data. Again, zero toxicity so, in large amounts. Mice can run 29% longer to exhaustion. Antioxidant capacities increase. Lipid peroxidation is decreased. That means oxidation in your blood is decreased. And metabolism markers are normalized. Here is the data that shows that mice can run faster, let's say. So if you're going to have mice with redox compounds, you need to have cats with redox compound in order to catch them. Very, very good correlation. So mice run faster. We have more available energy and increased antioxidant efficacy and zero effects. What wonderful advances this has. So without causing any harm whatsoever in any amount, it can stimulate the healing process, the repair process, because detection of damaged tissue is faster, repair is faster, and or replacement is faster when damaged cells are killed. Damaged cells, automatically are killed with apoptosis and are replaced with healthy normal cells. This is actually the key to healing on the cellular level. This is how the cells heal themselves. This is how they signal that they're in trouble and how the cells respond to heal themselves. If you make this more efficient, you turn into an X-Man or some, like Wolverine. You heal fast enough, then nothing can get you. And that's very important. So anyway, we have independent study results, clinical studies, no adverse effects in all subjects, complete blood work and analysis. And metabolic results were striking, about 60 plus metabolites changed. And there were lipids and sugars and metabolic intermediates, etc. And it verified absorption. In other words, when you drink this stuff, it actually gets inside your body and changes your metabolism and changes some of those markers. So you know that it's actually getting in and doing its job. And this is data that shows people that do not have the redox mechanism stimulated in their body, and here's ones that do. And we're learning more about what that's supposed to mean. And here are some of the markers that were used. No toxicity. no lethal dose at any amount, and no abnormal effects in any of the tissues and organs, including mutations. In clinical results in skin, reduction of wrinkles, reduction of blotches, increase in smoothness and texture, elasticity, and hydration. Great, because you can actually see it on your skin. You can see it work. And then here are some pictures that show differences after 28 days or even less of use. And this is a topical use. It increases the blood flow in the skin, decreases the size of cellulite or fat globules, increases the rate of regeneration. It's really wonderful for burns and skin regeneration, even after a short amount of time without scarring or grafts. I wish that more people knew about this. So, can reduce oxidative stress, normalize your immune response, normalize hormonal response, normalize brain chemistry, optimize metabolic pathways, open detox channels, facilitate tissue repair, facilitate damage, detection, repair, and replacement. I mean, this stuff is great, and it works on the natural abilities of cells, or the natural cycles of cells to just repair themselves and heal themselves. Makes it more efficient. So that is part of the thing that I believe that redox signaling technology is going to become and fuel the greatest advances in science. But that happens to be one of the things that we can use in order to be able to help advance the health of the individual. And I just wanted to mention maybe a few other things. One wonders then, how did we go wrong for so many years, thinking that oxidants were the bad guys, antioxidants were the good guys, when both of them in balance are working together in our cells to maintain our health and to stimulate healing? Well, I don't know. But science is a progressive discovery. We need to go out into this field of knowledge and try to discover the things which will help us with our health. Now, I hope that you've learned a few things. I mean, there have been a lot of technical things that we've talked about in this presentation. But I hope the most important thing that you start to realize is that these ways of stimulating oxidation can actually be very helpful. One thing that we can do is, have you ever heard of a hyperbaric chamber? They put you in a chamber that has oxygen in there, and you breathe concentrated levels of oxygen for a little while. And it helps to then stimulate these oxidative processes. These things that we were talking about before, ozone therapies, PEMF therapies, I've actually seen pulsed electromagnetic frequency therapies. They're very simple to do, actually, in practice. There's a little radio coil that transmits transmits frequencies into your body, such frequencies that stimulate the body to start regeneration processes. So I've seen studies where they've cut the wing off of a chicken, a living chicken, and then with the PEMF, they watched the whole wing regenerate and grow back, sort of turning on the regenerative process through oxidation. and also through flipping some genes there that allows for regeneration of whole body parts. Do you think this is going to be something we have in the future? Well, diabetes we've talked about in the past. It's caused by damage in the pancreas cells, the beta cells that produce insulin. They get killed away because of the high sugar levels themselves that stimulate oxidation. The oxidation then kills away the beta cells. Out of control, rampant oxidation is like a fire out of control. It can damage if it's not balanced and checked by the antioxidants. And so by putting oxidative processes there, and this redox compound can help to regenerate quicker the pancreatic cells that have been damaged. When you do that, you restore the body's own ability to make insulin. Also, stem cells in the regeneration of tissue can help your heart to regenerate, your lungs to regenerate. You use oxidative processes, you can regenerate them faster. Now, these are all sorts of futuristic things, but they're technologies that are being developed and have been developed. Right now, I've spent 17 years now, of my life helping to develop an oxidative compound that's safe. Things like hydrogen peroxide cause, for example, stimulate inflammation, stimulate negative types of things, swelling, inflammation. Hydrogen peroxide by itself. Oxygen by itself also tends to dry you out and such. But if you have all of these things mixed together in the right combination and balance, then they can work very, very well for you. So anyway, that's my Science Friday. I don't know if you have any questions. If you do, I think that they'll be relayed to me through this channel. All right. Well, if not, then I guess we've run out of our time, and hopefully you gained something out of this. This, I hope, will give you some help and some hope about what kind of things we can look forward to in the future. So we have nanotechnology. In nanotechnology, there are hundreds of different compounds, including nanonutrients. We'll talk about those next time. And nanoparticles that can block harmful processes and harmful proteins from being able to damage us. And we have oxidative compounds like our redox compound that can accelerate healing, and it's hard to really express what this really means. This means if we let ourselves, the only thing that really is stopping us is our own hearts, or maybe possibly what I'm trying to say is the political and economic engine needs to be built that will help us to develop these things and develop them faster. Because not all the solutions to our problems are found. Not all of them are expensive. Not all of them generate a great deal of income and revenue, but all of them are needed. Hydration, nutrition, exercise. These are the most fundamental laws, along with respiration, which is what we're talking about today, oxygen, and sleep. These are the most fundamental laws of cellular health. If we leverage those to the greatest extent, we can indeed have optimal health. So thank you so very much. And I appreciate your attention today. And good evening and good weekend.